Wilson with Cascade Sports and What's Up Kansas City. And today I'm delighted to have the director, CEO, president. If I'm misstating, I
Executive
don't,
Director.
uh, one of my friends, I'd like to thank one of my personal friends, Dr. Carmaletta Williams, over here at the Black Archives. How you doing, Carmelita?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
All right. Brought you on at spare of the moment. Sorry for interrupting your day-to-day business, but tell our audience a little bit about what you've been able to accomplish for 219, where you're going for 22021, and how our community can support you in all the different fashions that you need that support.
Hey, thank you, Carlos. It's good to have a conversation with my friend, especially my knowledgeable friend. I always learn something when I talk to you. The Black Archives of Mid-America is progressing. When I've been here, it'll be 2 years in November. So it was pretty stagnant, if I might say, when we came here. But we're moving along. We've got some great things happening here. We're about to open a gift shop, a coffee shop, a genealogy
Excuse me, I'm
cafe.
interrupting you a little bit. Can you elaborate on the gift shop, or do
Sure.
you even know, what type of things you'll have in there, so our community and our viewership can look forward to these things?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We'll have the normal souvenir gift shop things, but also we want to feature local artists. We want to have a forum and a place where those people can come and display and sell their products. So we'll be looking at visual artists. We already have some writers, some local writers who have their books there, including mine. Uh,
What's the name of your book,
and
by the way? Let our audience know a little bit about this. Your book.
About Dr. Karma's Corner,
Oh, hey,
which is the book
Dr.
portion
Carmen,
of the
you
gift
know I
shop.
got Coach's Corner. Boy, you done really run that down a little bit about the book that's going to be in the shop, and where can they get the book now?
they can they can get it now here. We have them on the premises. Right now, we have um, some of my books are here, and also
Books, plural.
books. Oh yeah, you know.
Give our audience the name of the books and what they're about in a rapid succession.
Okay, Jacene and Grandma's Cane is my children's book, and it's a beautifully created book. Natalie Sewell, who is an art professor, did the illustrations. I can't draw stick people, but it's a beautiful book, and it's a story
What
about how
age
a
group
little
is it
little girl learns about stroke.
geared towards?
I'm sorry.
What age group is this geared to? I
You
wish
know,
I would
it's
have
for
known, Carmen, because we do the book of the month here at What's Up Kansas City. We do a children's, sometimes two children's book and an adult book. We're gonna have to make sure that that book gets on next month's Book of the Month Club
oh, for
for
sure.
What's Up Kansas City.
And
This is brought to you by Africana Art, located at 1734 East 63rd Street.
it's for all ages, actually, because it talks about family and stroke and how the family can has to come together and to deal with that and to help the stroke victim. But also, it's a fun book because she sings. She's a little girl. She doesn't understand why her grandma, who was so busy and energetic, suddenly has trouble talking and walking. But she makes up songs. So she's a beautiful little girl. She lives with her mom, and then her grandma is coming to stay with them to heal. So it's actually for all people, especially people who have had stroke in their families, and that's a major problem in the Black community. So I wanted to address that in this
The
book.
unhealthy eating, the high salt content,
Absolutely.
the pressure that are on us mentally
Yes.
from just being part of the diaspora, the economics and all that. What's your next book? What's the other
Well,
book?
my other children's book is Little J, Ivan, Axel, and the Dreaded Mommy Water. The Mommy Water is actually a Caribbean legend, but she migrated to West Africa. So most people think that she's a West African legend, but she can be in the water or on land, and she uses her powers for good or bad. And the Mommy Water finds a man on Earth, and she grants his wishes. And they always want the same thing. They want money, they want fame, and that kind of thing. But then she comes back to collect. So the Mommy Water has found this man. She comes back, collects, and he lives under the sea with her. And he takes on the form of a fish. And then the boys catch him. And so the Mommy Water wants revenge. So it's how these three little boys save their father, their family, and their community from the dreaded Mommy Water. And it's a wonderful book.
What is your
If I say
adult
so
book?
myself, I'm not going to break my arm patting myself on the back, but it's a
No,
good
hold
one.
it. But if people don't, I'm your friend and didn't know about these books. So
Yes.
your supporters, they need to know, hey, this is what you need to come and buy for your kids.
Yeah.
Right
And
here,
also,
homegrown, KC.
yeah.
That's
And
what's up.
also in the shop, we have my book, My Dear Boy, and it's co-edited with Dr. John Edgar Tidwell. And it's the letters from Langston Hughes' mother to him over the last 20 years of her life. And she goes from performing on Broadway to dying of breast cancer. And so we know that Hughes spent his entire life trying to get his mother to love him unconditionally. It never happened. But through her letters, then we see their relationship and how it was. And we grounded the book in family systems theory. So we talk about family and functional family and how people then create this self-identity. So that's My Dear Boy. We also have my teacher's guide. It's called Langston Hughes in the Classroom. Do nothing
Who's
to
that
be
geared
afraid.
towards?
I'm sorry?
The teacher's guide, who is that geared toward?
It's part of the high school literature series through the National Council of Teachers of English. So they approached me about writing the book, and it's turnkey. So any teacher can get that book, and they have an automatic lesson, including test for each section. And it looks at the Harlem Renaissance. It looks at poetry. It looks at Black life and culture. So we have that book here. And then we have local artist. Rachinda Pickens has her book, Kept Woman of God, which is a spiritually uplifting, but also it's one of those women's empowerment books. And we're going to pick up a few more authors along the way and have their books also in Dr. Karma's Corner.
Hey, Doc. Is there anything specifically going to be sold in reference to my friend Horace Peterson? Any type of memorabilia or any type of anything that you might have planned?
Well, we're having a Black Archives collection, which will be boxed greeting cards. And they'll be empty on the inside so people can write whatever they want, but they're actually pictures that we have back in the archives, and many of these are pictures that Horace collected.
Excellent.
And we'll have Black Archives mugs, pins, flash drives, etc.
I'm gonna have my mug, that's for sure. Cause
all righty.
Yeah. So where are we going for 221?
Well, we're looking at November 1st for this. So in addition to the gift shop, we're also going to open a coffee shop. So the structure is in. We're waiting on a couple of things like the front counter. So we will have a coffee shop so people can come in, get your coffee, get your tea, get a latte, and then you can either go or else you can sit. We have a little section, a little cafe area. We're going to have not soups, we're going to have salads and sandwiches there too.
Oh, that was my next thing.
Fresh pastries in the morning.
Oh, you know what? See, that was my next thing. We're getting ready to do an interview with Black Hole Bakery. They're on like 50 something and Truth that are doing pastry. I'm saying real baking, not that crap. And I was just getting ready to say, maybe I need to hook y'all up with them so that they can deliver some pastries over there.
Oh, for sure.
Because I had they're
We
a new
don't have that vendor
business.
yet.
Hold it, they're a new business, and I went by there the other day. They were packed, and really
Wow.
packed with the majority community. Kind of high price. I think I bought 2 pieces of pastry, and they were like, my bill was about $8 and change. What did I bought like a cheese Danish, and they had a piece of pastry with Missouri peaches. They were sliced real thin, and
Okay.
some raspberry on top. At first, I was like, man, this is too. But when I ate that stuff, I was like, I went there yesterday. They were closed. They closed on Monday and Tuesday, because I usually will buy that stuff out of Costco's, the pastries out of Costco's, or out of this. It's nothing like having fresh pastry, and so uh, that's good. That should really that coffee shop should really do some things, because it's a desert down there when it comes to.
There's nothing here, right? There's no coffee shop here, so we're excited about that.
That. Yeah,
Then we're
so
also opening a genealogy center. A genealogy center.
praise the
Country Club,
Lord.
yeah. Country Club Bank donated 12 computers to us. So we have that room right off this lobby for the genealogy center. We partnered with Midwest Genealogy Center and Independence, and they've told us the software that we need to buy, and they're going to train us. Then they're going to do a community training. And then we should be able to help people walk through this software so that they can
I'm gonna be
trace
one of
their
the first
family.
ones. As soon as you, hey, hit me up. As soon as it's ready for the public, cause
Okay.
I wanted to do, the suave and the this and that, but if I can work with y'all on some things, I can document just like Gates does when he's doing on my family,
Yeah.
and that would work wonders.
Oh, I think
Uh,
so
I,
too.
I think you probably will have long lines from the Kansas City community once you get that software up and running, and that they know that it's available.
Yeah, yeah. And we are following COVID guidelines. So we're going to do social distancing, and everybody who enters the building must wear a mask, and we'll have some for you if you come without. But this is an exciting, energetic place. Plus, we're opening, we have partnered with the Equal Justice Initiative on the Community Remembrance Project, which is the
What is that?
lynching project. So
Is
we
what?
have that, the lynching
Oh, all right.
project. So we
Well,
have the
tell the audience
exhibition.
what that project is, because lynching project.
Yeah, what they've done, what the Equal Justice Initiative has done is identified where people were victims of racial violence, lynchings. And so for us, there's a couple of sections, but the first one is from Reconstruction to 1965. And so they've identified 60 people. I know there's more than that were lynched in Missouri in that time frame. So I built the exhibition for 80. And I right now we have 4 jars, and they go to the place where the person's body was hung as closely as they can get, dig up some soil, put it in a jar, then put the person who was victimized, put their name, the city, and the date that they were murdered. And then we put it in the exhibition. We have a young man, his name is Charlie Suave, and Charlie has done a wall mural for us of the grotesque carnivals that were lynchings. People would come from all around. Railroads would give discounts. Hotels would give discounts. They'd come in on horse and buggy with their baskets of food and all dressed up to watch somebody be murdered. Um, so it's that carnivalist. And it doesn't take long to kill somebody, to make them dead when you hang them by the neck until dead. So they would have carnival games. And if you won whatever the game was, then for a prize, you would get to go cut a part off the body of the person who was being hanged, being lynched.
What?
And if you were the big winner, then you got to cut off the scrotum. And people would put those body parts in jars and put them in their windows and storefronts and out on the streets.
Are you?
And we can't ignore that. We can't
Right.
say that this didn't happen, because it did and it was real. But the only way to heal is to confront it. So this is a beautiful exhibit. I'm looking now for some local musicians that will do a theme song for that area. We have the beautiful mural and the cabinets, the podiums
Well,
for
when
the
we get off the
jars.
line, off this interview, hopefully you'll give me his information, and we'll do a Zoom with him. His mural.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Think I told you that we were doing this like doc on the Black Lives Matter street paintings,
Um,
and that fall right in line with.
Yeah,
Uh,
Charlie came in. I didn't know him. He came in. He knew I was looking for somebody to do that mural, brought his portfolio, and he already had done paintings of lynching scenes. I'm like, Charlie, you're 20. Why are you doing pictures of lynchings? And made me understand that this is also a part of those young people's realities.
right.
It's not just old folk, it's young people too have to deal with that
And
and
what they
process
want,
that.
Carmelita, excuse me for cutting you off, because I interview a lot of these young from high school to college. They want to know more about their history, because in the classic educational system, we're not in the history.
I taught African American studies for 28 years at Johnson County Community College, and every semester a student would say, how come we didn't learn this in high school? And then I'd have to talk about follow the money. Who wrote the books, who published the books, who sold the books, and who bought the books. And largely it was people who were trying to hide their place in that awful history. So, I mean, if you can have the state of Texas, which had millions of enslaved people in it, take out the word slavery from the history books, people are hiding things. And we have to illuminate that. We have to pull the covers off and tell the
What I
truth.
like to say, and we talked about this off camera, as I was saying, you talking about putting the lynchings and all of these atrocities front and center. You remember I said how our company is trying to reach out to the majority community, because they're the ones that put the system in place, and all of them are not involved in it. But if we're not talking about it, the people that do have goodwill cannot get together with like-minded people and try to come up with some solutions, or at least some acknowledgement, at least that
That's
these
it. You
things
have to
work.
acknowledge it. You have to say, yes, we understand. If you look at South Africa with the reconciliation hearings, I heard a man in South Africa say that he had a party in his backyard. All of his neighbors and friends were there, all white folks, all Afrikaners, and they were eating and drinking. There was music and laughter. But in his backyard on the spit was the body of a black man. Now, we could tell the story about that backyard barbecue, but if we don't say that there was the body of a black man on the barbecue spit, then you just had another party. Okay? You have to tell the whole story so that people can see it, they can acknowledge it, and move on. I always had these sensitive students who've said, well, I didn't own slaves. My parents didn't own slaves. My grandparents didn't own slaves. No, but you profited from white privilege.
And are benefiting still.
And are still, yeah. If we have to say Black Lives Matter to bring it to the attention of everybody, then we haven't arrived yet. We haven't gotten to that place. And then folks say all lives matter. Yeah, they do, but right now we're talking about the black ones. So we have to do that. We have to acknowledge it. We have to talk about it, and then we can heal. Otherwise, it's just that burn in your shoe.
Well, the
That
context that I
continues.
put it in all the time, per se, is that Black Lives Matter, and that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have an amazing group of young kids here. There's about 40 of them, and they're BACON, the Black Archives Youth Coalition Network. And so we have discussion. They are amazing, amazing young people. And so they meet every week here.
What
So
age
one of the
group?
thing that we
Tell our
talked
audience
about,
what age group that covers so that they
high,
can
high
picture.
school and college.
Because
High
we
school.
did some, what were they?
Yeah, the two interns, they're part
19,
of Baycon.
yeah, we're getting ready to use them to do some voter and some uh, census little blurbs on our network.
Okay.
So what did it?
We had
How
a
did you
voter
come with
drive
that?
here
How did
last
you put
Tuesday,
that
and that was
together?
their idea.
How did
They
you put
said
that
we need to
together?
have a voter drive. Huh?
How did you put that together?
Well, I
Coming
hired a
from where
young
the
man.
archives were dormant a couple
Yeah.
of years ago, how did you start to strategize to see? Because a lot of the organizations that are dealing with our community, I think they got to have a component like what you have,
Oh,
with
absolutely.
high school and college kids involved in taking that organization and the community to another level.
Yeah. Well, I hired a young man to be my social media tech because I don't know how to do that. And his name is James McGee. And currently, he is the president of the student body at Lincoln High School. And so we talked, and he knew that I wanted to have a youth group. This organization or any other organization cannot survive if you don't have young people involved. Black Archives is an historical museum, but that doesn't mean it's just for old people. So we wanted to bring young people in. And so he said, well, I have some friends and can we do this? And I'm like, yes. And they created the structure. It's really funny because everybody has to apply and do an interview, but everybody gets in. So it's not like it's sorting the wheat from the chaff. But so I asked them, so why do you do the interviews? If they don't come in on person, they have to do it on Zoom. They said, because we want everybody who joins Baycon to know that they have to be committed to the community. And these are amazing, active young people. It was their idea to have the voter registration drive. They walked all over 18th and Vine District, all over this historic jazz district, trying to get people to register to vote. We called people over to Union Station on the first day to get them to vote. They do a lot of community. They did your PSAs, so they are invested.
Well, they did. I think we used about 4 of them to do those covert PSAs that went pretty well. Oh, and I still run them because we still have to be reminded.
They'll have to be reminded. And then it goes out on their social platforms too. So it's a much bigger audience than we ever could have anticipated. And you have to have young people and you have to, I need to know as the executive director of the Black Archives, what they need. How can I make this place, this collection, this building and this organization feed into what they need? I know what I need. I mean, I've been doing Black
So you're not managing from the top. Hey, Carmen, you're not managing, Carmelita, you're not managing from the top down. You listening to from the down up what they need and then trying to provide it.
Yeah, and we reach out to the community too. And it's like, okay, we do a lot of oral histories. In fact, we have a guy, Trevor Harris, who's collecting the oral history of Black folks who lived in Beacon Hill. And what we want to know and what we've been asking them is how has gentrification changed what your life is like, what your realities are like. It's not just that you have white folks as neighbors, but what about self-identity? What about the community itself? Because those are important things, and those are also things that we need to share.
When I go, I told you I'm from New York.
Yes.
Now, Harlem was really an epicenter of Black culture.
Oh, for sure.
And I grew up 125th Street, the Apollo, James Brown, all the Black stars, Gladys, everybody was there when I was a young man. All right. That was part of really our culture.
Yeah. I'm really jealous of that because I've always wanted to have a brownstone or an apartment in Harlem. I've always wanted to live in Harlem.
And the Lenox Avenues and 8th Avenues and stuff, and the jazz clubs that were there. That was part of and they've taken that, and this is about 20 years ago. I hadn't been home in a long time. I went home about 20 years ago. I didn't even recognize 125th Street with wall marks and all this other crap on there. And slowly but surely, our heritage is being just wiped out by the majority community, and it seems like we're going along with it to a degree.
Well, if we don't save it, preserve it, and enhance it, then it belongs to somebody else. And we have to tell our own stories. We have to preserve our own culture. We have to share that information.
Well, that's what I try to get to our constituents, but a lot of you can't do it a lot of times because you don't own the like with Cascade Media, you don't own the tools that they use to communicate to the world. And you can do an interview like this, and by the time it airs, a lot of things that you have said have been edited out or cut out, and that's where I see our for a lack of better words, we black coffee when we're doing things, and then when it gets out to the public, a lot of cream has been put in it.
It's funny you should say that. The name of our coffee shop is Black Coffee.
Oh, I love it. I love it,
That's the name of it, Black Coffee.
So we're getting ready to do a project with you to really put some visual to where we're going, where we've been, and at the end, we're gonna let you know how you can get involved financially and physically. Cause my boy Jimmy Watts, he just, with them picture parties, at first I was like, what the heck? But now that makes all the sense in the world if our community responds to the call.
You know, we literally have thousands of pictures here that we don't know who they are. Many people thought that they were important enough to donate to the Black Archives. What they didn't do is write the names on the back of who these people are, where they are, and the dates. So the picture parties, Jimmy's idea is actually fabulous. We separate pictures by what we can identify, and then we invite people in that community to come in, and we give them lunch and tell them to write on this piece of paper, you know, who's in the picture. It's been amazing. We've had Black firefighters, Black policemen, Black businessmen, and then we had others scheduled before COVID knocked in. But we have to do that because they are important. If somebody thought they were important enough to take it to a museum, then it's important for that museum to acknowledge who these people are.
You know what? I hate always having to defend myself, but I do because I'd be so hard. I don't suck up, but Carmaletta, I am so glad that our Black archives are in competent hands now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Because a lot of things that represent us are not in competent hands. I just have to be truthful. Or they might be competent hands, but they heart or something is not right because we're not getting the same type of results. And people can say, you Mr. Sourpuss, no, I'm kill the messenger if you want, but I tell you this, I'm a numbers man. Look at your pocketbook. Look at your schools. Look at your housing. And if the people that were representing us to the fullest, you wouldn't be in those situations because the people that's representing the majority community, they're not suffering like us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that your support from Cascade Media and Carlos Nelson personally to the Black Archives is essential part of who you are.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that you have to fend for your own and take care of your own, there's something wrong.
That's right.
And now that we have competent people at the helm, that you can be assured if you donate some money or you donate some material artifacts, that they're going to be utilized in a fashion that will make you proud and our community proud.
Yeah, yes.
In the story.
And we have a lot to be proud of. You know, we have a lot, and we have to display that. We have to show, you know, how important this is. When we talk about problems in our community. To me, part of that is because we haven't made our young people understand how important they are, that they came from kings and queens and learned people. And somehow that stuff got shifted away or washed away. We have to bring that back. You know, we don't have the I'm black and I'm proud, black is beautiful movements anymore. We have to bring comparable ones back so that people will know you can't kill somebody that you think is valuable to you, you know? So I don't know,
Well,
but we have to stay at it, and people like you get this word out, and I am so glad to be your friend and to be associated with you. And thanks for what you do and what you're doing for
well,
the
in closing,
Black
Carmelita,
Archives.
what would you have your closing comments to our audience?
Well,
Not just hold it. This is what because this piece is going to go on our worldwide network also. What would you have to say to the African diaspora around the world, and what would you have this as it relates to the Black Archives, what they can do, and what the immediate community here in the KCMO metro area?
I would tell them to become familiar with the Black Archives. You can go to our website, www.blackarchives.org, go through our holdings. We have um, collections information there. Join the Friends of the Black Archives. You can join at any amount and come visit. If you can't come physically, come virtually. We have a website, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have YouTube. Check us out. Check us
Boy,
out.
you got
And
more than
if
I
you
got.
have
And I'm the media company. I'm gonna
no,
have to come over there and try to slip some under the table to James McGee if he's rolling you on like that.
yeah, and we have a team doing that.
Got
James
a team.
McGee and Alexandra Green and Autumn Green and Ivan Williams. So we have a team of young folks who are working on that for us because we have to do that. That's how people communicate. You know that. You keep telling me that. So visit the archives, join Friends of the Black Archives, support us physically, spiritually, and financially. And if you have some of those documents and artifacts about Black life and culture, donate them. Give them to us. Share with everybody else so that people can see them. They can't see them in your basement or in your attic,
And you
but
know
they
what?
can access them
I
here.
want to speak to my audience. Uh, we have the History Channel on What's Up Kansas City, and you got you might have a half dozen people that really know Kansas City history here and have collected. And when I've talked to some of them, it's like they have all this memorabilia and it's home. And if they die, their kids are just going to throw it out in the trash. And I'm like, wake up, give it to the archives so that it can be preserved. You're gone, but that's here.
It's here. You know, I got two big boxes from Rhode Island. And the man had a note in it that said, when his neighbor died, her daughters, girls are getting blamed for this, just threw the stuff out on the curb. So he went over and collected things. And he said he woke up one day and said, this stuff belongs at the Black Archives. So he mailed them to us. There are amazing things in there, like ration books and ration tickets. You know, we've heard
That
about
we've
them. I've
never
never
seen,
physically
right?
touched any. And amazing documents, and it all bled into the building of Black Kansas City. And I came from Rhode Island. So, you know,
Well,
it's there. Don't let that end up in a landfill.
I don't know whether you know this. Well, I had bought the corner of 27th and Prospect. It used to be a drugstore there across from Ben's Supermarket. And I put my Goodfellas Pizzeria in there. But when I got the building, it had all the SAC 20 stuff in there.
Wow.
I don't, it's in y'all's archives. I gave it all to Horace. All of that
Okay.
stuff, nice posters with Horace, Judge Hughes, the SAC 20. It was a lot of black and gold stuff. I gave it all to Horace.
Thank you for not throwing it in a dumpster.
Right, and that's what, hold it. And that's what I'm saying, because when I went to renovate the building, or like that was just junk to me.
Yeah.
But Vernon Thompson was like, "Hey man, that's our stuff,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "I ain't got no place to put it." Horace said, "Bring that stuff down here."
Yeah.
That's when he was doing the slave cabin.
Yeah. And we have it. It's
Is where's the slave cabin at the archives? Is it?
it's in the exhibition hall. It's right across from the lynching project.
This is what I want you to also give some kudos, because when I was down there doing those C19 commercials or promos, I met some of your staff. Talk about your staff real quick before we go off.
We have an amazing, amazing group of people here. Quincy Bennett is the associate director. I started Friday, November 18th. She started that Monday. So she has been in the trenches with me from the first day. Um, and she takes care of all of the administrative stuff other than the writing and that kind of thing. So she keeps the books and pays the bills and does all of that. But she also has
That's your right hand, baby girl?
Huh?
Is that your right hand?
That's my right hand. That's my right hand. She's also the mayor's mother.
That hey, that's
Yeah.
always a winning combination.
Well, yeah. So she's great to have. And Deborah Barker is our archivist, and she showed up in my door one day and said, "Hi, I'm your archivist." And I said, "Oh, great. I don't have any money." And she said, "Oh, that's okay. I'll volunteer." So she volunteered at first, and then I was able to get some grants to help pay her. And she has completely revised. We couldn't walk through the archives at the Black Archives, and she has structured it and organized it. And I'm a repository rat, right? I have a PhD. I've spent so much time in repositories, and I'm like, where are the numbers? What's the numbering system? And there is a legitimate number system. Well, now we have that.
Now we got it.
Yeah, and we have back there with her is Fanny Forrester, who is AME minister, came here for our open house. I had an open house. It was like, nobody's here, and I know how to get them in. I'll have a party. And she came to the party, and she told her friend, said, "I'm going to work there one day." She showed up. And Jimmy actually found her, and
you can speak it into existence.
Yeah, speak it, give it power. Then we have Autumn Green, who is a young woman. She's a graduate of Drury University, and she just started. Her sister Alexandra has been here for a while. She started as summer intern, and she's at Harris Stowe University, but she still works here, doing virtual school. Antoinette Williams is our front desk person, and she
That's what I like. I used to come over to that place, nobody at the damn front desk.
Yeah, or the doors were locked.
Yeah, I'm like,
and
what the heck?
Jason Williams is our facilities manager. He keeps this place sparkling clean, disinfected, puts things together, sets up the rooms, takes down the rooms. He does all of that for us, and he's been a godsend. And Jimmy Watts. And Jimmy showed up not long after I'd been here. And I kind of knew him in a former life. I worked in construction. So I knew who he was, and he knew me from the company. I worked for Howard Carney at CNC Excavating and Construction Company. And then I worked at Swope Parkway National Bank. So I knew a lot of these people. And so he came in to help me. And then I knew he was looking for regular stuff. It's like, I need him. I need somebody who knows the people that can come
and knows the history of the archives, because that's how I met Horace, through Jimmy.
Through Jimmy? Yeah. And he is social. 78. Yeah, he's social. I mean, I don't know how many business cards I've had printed for him because he talks to people and he gives them out and he gets people into the building. So he is also an amazing asset for the Black Archives.
Well, as we always say, and since we're talking about Jimmy Watts, I'm going to steal his line again. Hey, Carmaletta, it was a plum pleasing pleasure to have you on the history side. And now I'll use my closing. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, sir.
Program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.